Hey guys, Bix Weir, road2ruta.com. We have Jenny Moonstone on the line, ready to solve the world's problems. I hear Jenny just had a dream, a special dream. Tell us about your special dream.
It was super cool, Bix. By the way, hi everybody. Hope everyone's
Hi.
having a great week. Oh my gosh, so much to talk about.
I think we can hear you if the mic's on the table.
Oh, okay. Sometimes I don't know what to do with my hands when I'm talking, so it's kind of like it helps like
Well, you
because I'm a little bit
do
fidgety.
what you wish. You want whatever.
Anyways, a couple nights ago, I had a dream that I went to open my front door and silver and gold coins just came pouring in, and it just felt really great. I don't know if it was literal stuff or if it was more just about, the notion of silver and gold, precious metals in general, pumping, but it was
There's
wonderful.
nothing by accident in dreams, especially I would figure with your dreams, they're more prescient, as
There's,
Cliff likes to use that word.
that's a good
Um,
word.
That's a good word. Um, that's exactly where I want to start. It was last time we talked about gold, Grand Canyon gold, and all that. I want to talk about silver. Silver's finally looking like it's breaking out of the $35 cap it's been on. The next,
Where are we at?
we hit 35.50. And the question is, and here's what we need to know. You pretty much nailed that the Silver Riggers had a new gig about 4 or 5 years ago, and just spot on with that. I feel like it's winding down. I want to start with that. Is that way of rigging winding down? Does it have a long way to go, a short way to go? How long before that's over? There's no giggling in tarot card reading. It's very serious.
Oh, there's a lot of giggling in tarot card reading, I'll have you know.
Okay.
All right, so we have the Queen of Cups, the Ace of Swords, wow, the Ace of Wands, the Lust card, and the Nine of Cups. Hello. Okay, so we have our double aces here. This is actually really exciting. This is more along the lines of like announcements and sending signals. So what I'm getting here is like a cross communication. You know how like we have a lot of the decoders that watch a lot of the releases, like the press releases, the big interviews and stuff, and they make note of how there are comms taking place. They are sending signals to one another. They're not even directly talking to the people, they're talking to one another. So we might get a feel like in the language, or as I don't know if this is what it would be considered, the qualia, the ontology is reflecting precious metals in the bigger show, in like the bigger press releases, the bigger interviews. So the conversation and announcements that are being made tie into this change, this kind of like release of the old ways. That was like my question here is like, where are we on the timeline of the breaking down of the old rigging, like their old method, their old method.
Okay.
You get it.
So an
Um,
announcement, more.
Nine of Cups, and the Lust card. This is also known as Strength, but in this deck it's Lust. This is Sybil. This is summertime. This is like our August timeline. They're gonna just, it's weird. It's like August, September. But there's announcements that are like, I feel like this is current. Like the aces are like, they're very current. They're very like pow pow type thing. And then the Queen of Cups is also another summer card. So we could be looking at things getting hot, like in the very near future. Um,
Okay,
Leo,
let's while we're on this part,
yeah.
I want you to take a look at this guy. How does he relate to what we're talking about right here?
So we just had the Six of Pentacles jump out, right? So this is going to be how money is used, how money is allocated, and like systems of utilizing that money. That's what the Six of Pentacles is think of like it's like charities, foundations, organizations that front as being like collectivist types of movements as opposed to this kind of like, personal, like individuated type of thing. So this is going to be like he works with groups and other people's money. Let's see here. Do you want to know anything specific about him? Is there anything I'd be able to like hit, like
Yeah,
nail?
let's talk about his involvement with the um, silver rigging game.
Can you hold up his photo for me again, please? Okay. So we've got the Four of Pentacles, the Three of Swords, and the Seven of Pentacles. Okay. So I stick to my guns on the other people's money and community money, money that does not necessarily belong to individuals, but money that belongs to big collectives. And his level of involvement, we've got the Three of Swords, Four of Pentacles, not a very happy combination because it kind of implies like um, a means of keeping something separate or keeping something, what's the word? Compartmentalized. Seven of Pentacles tells me there could be some frustration around something that they've put a lot of work into, but it's not garnering the results that they wanted, possibly some kind of prototype or some sort of system or tool that they've been like banking on, and it's just not really panning out. They're having issues. So, I mean, if you want me to say, is he a good guy or a bad guy? I don't know. These days, I
No,
don't.
we don't need to know that. Let me tell you who he is. His name is Charlie Sharaf, Scharf. Isn't that the Bush clan's original name?
I think that's Scherf, but it's pretty damn close.
Yeah. Anyway, he is the CEO of Wells Fargo. So Wells Fargo got in a lot of trouble because they were faking accounts back in 2019.
For
They
what purpose?
to lie to the markets about how many new depositors they have and things like that. They'll take one depositor and tell them, you know, we'll add 5 counts for you, but we'll refund all any costs to you. So it looks like a one depositor is actually 5 depositors. It's a con.
Oh,
It's a normal
okay.
regular banking con. Anyway, the reason I'm asking about him now is just this morning I was talking about how Wells Fargo is it all of a sudden a pretty big player in silver and is taking delivery and making deliveries. And I
I
don't,
like Wells Fargo personally. I bank with them.
I know you do. I do too.
You're like, girl, I know.
You know, um, and the reason I'm bringing this up, looking at the qualia just this morning, I was watching,
Love us.
the only big entity other than JP Morgan taking silver this month is Wells Fargo. And Wells Fargo is a pattern of them taking a lot of silver and then delivering a lot of silver a couple months later. Everything they take, they deliver. Now, delivering means they're at a short position. I think at the beginning they were part of this structured package, including JP Morgan leases 1.2 billion ounces to Bank of America, who subleases it to different people, including Wells Fargo, part of this big gang. And now that we're coming at the end game when those leases come due, and Wells Fargo at least has to get in and get that silver to pay it back. They might be holding part of the bag, but the interesting thing to me is the cover of the first page of the Wall Street Journal today has a highlight. Hey, all the Fed has relaxed all the rules on Wells Fargo. It no longer has caps on what they can do. This guy comes out and says, well, the article says champagne flowed outside of the high-rise corner of Wells Fargo chief executive Charlie Schiff's office on Tuesday after regulators lifted a years-long penalty that restricted the bank's growth. Now, if they're in deep shit with their silver and he say, "Oh my God, we're gonna, be destroyed because we can't throw more derivatives at it. You got to give us more room." All of a sudden, voila, they get more room right when probably the worst time ever the regulators could give a bank more room to cause trouble. And this guy says this, and I quote, "Now I can start having more fun," said Sharf, who was brought in to fix the 2019 crisis. Uh,
He can start having
he
more
can start
fun.
having more fun with the derivative bullshit that they're doing. I think they're in serious silver derivative problems, and the Fed said, "Okay, you're gonna about to go down. You better fix this." And he says, "Yeah, I can fix it if I can play the derivative games that I'm handicapped from playing because you guys put restrictions on me." That's my take.
Well,
That sound plausible?
well, sure. So I told you this really doesn't look great. I mean, like I said, three of swords is this sort of, it's a separation, it's a compartmentalization. Our Four of Pentacles, by the way, it did come up reversed. So this is going to be hidden things, hidden money. It's sort of, and then put all this together. The Seven of Pentacles is like, there may be some significant issues to this long term that maybe short term they think that. Like I said, they think this is gonna work out, but they're not yielding the result that they originally anticipated. So I don't know if those are going to be technological bugs or logistics or
Well, let me chime in and say I think you're spot on. I think what they did, and this is a con that the bankers have done for a long time, is borrowed metal because you can borrow metal from banks and pay like 1% interest for lease metal. Sold it into the market. So they have basically money at 1% instead of going out in the market and sourcing money at, 5 or 6 or 7% because the interest rates are so high. They get money at 1% because they're only paying 1%. They sell that metal into the market, which helps suppress the price, and then voila, they have that cash to use however they want. They leverage it up 10 to 1 like a bank does, and it's a great money machine until it's time to pay the silver back. And then they have to source the physical silver, find it, and get it back to wherever it came from. I think that's where he's saying, "Holy shit, this whole thing that we set up to get cheap money when interest rates were rising has backfired because now we have to pay that metal back."
oops.
Oops. That's what I'm getting from that. All
Yeah,
right.
they're gonna hit some snags with that man.
I
I'll
mean,
tell you.
that lined up with what you said, if you ask me.
Mhm.
Anyway, all right, moving on from that. Let's talk about silver in general. Um, it hit 35. We're bouncing around it. It'll bounce around it, a little up and a little down. But then the next move is to 50. Let's take a look. If it hits $50 within the year, I think it'll be, within the very soon, like August timeframe, September. What will there be massive resistance at $50? Or will it just bust through and say,
Right.
voila, I'm free at last?
Wow. I don't think that Silver speaks French. I think Silver speaks English.
Silver goes, Yahoo! I'm free at last. There you go. How's that? That's my old gold miner Yahoo.
Oh,
Eureka!
Eureka! That was freaking hilarious. All right, so I decided to do like a status, like for the sake of control of the reading, we take a snapshot at where silver's at right now. So at the
Okay.
35, right? So we have the Eight of Cups. Moving on. Eight of Cups is the card of moving on.
Okay. Perfect. I
Okay,
love that.
we like that. We do. Okay, so now we're going to track the resistance, gauge the resistance between 35 and $50.
No, I would put it, I don't think there's any resistance between 35 and 50. It's at 50. Can we break
Oh,
through 50, which is the all-time high from 1980?
okay. We'll do both.
Uh, Whatever you feel like.
Thank you.
You go ahead.
I'm so grateful to Bix for giving me so much control, creative control, and he just lets me, he's like, whatever you want to
Well,
do.
I throw my 2 cents in. I usually muck things up. So let's go with the core.
You guys, this is fucking weird. Okay, so we have the Ace of Wands. So this is the second time today that Silver's coming up with this ace. This is what we want, though. This is a big. Okay.
Mhm.
Lift off. And this is also the second time that we've gotten the Queen of Cups energy, which like if when we assign an archetypal characteristic to an inanimate object, right? We're looking that tells us more about um whether it's slow, fast, the approach that it takes. That's how we characterize inanimate things and how they're moving in the event stream. So a Queen of Cups energy around $50 is very much like it will have had to impress upon the users or the people that are circulating it a deep affinity, like an affection, is born that I think takes hold. You know, the Queen of Cups, she's like everybody wants to be around the Queen of Cups. She's so all-encompassing and compassionate, and she's really without flaw. So I think when people realize that silver is pretty much flawless and they can work out some of the kinks when it comes to things like, storage and I've told you guys on this channel before, one of the next phases of this process is that these facilities that store your silver and your other precious metals, the standard will go up. And so a lot of issues that people dealt with before with their physical silver and storing it places, the standard's going to be up, a lot more, and there's going to be a lot less incident. So it was going to become a lot more normalized, and there's a type of affection that what did I say? Affection that people feel for silver. And then we have the Wheel of Motherfucking Fortune here, which is wild. It's just wild.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. No, so like, look, this is where things get weird. The Wheel of Fortune's number 10, right? It has a lot to do with like just the moving of the wheel, and it is about money and it is about increase. It is about rapid movement. But then we also have the Ten of Swords, which tells me with the two tens, there's a simultaneous ending and beginning. One thing must die in order for the other. Basically, it's like when you think about how a wheel works. It's like you got to fix the flat tire, you got to change the tire. So there is some kind of change that occurs, like a switch out occurs. Um, can
So
I unpopular opinion on this channel, but I don't personally think that the dollar is going to die. Like
it
I
won't.
don't think that that's going to happen, but I don't think that that's necessary for silver and precious metals to thrive. What do you think?
I agree. And I mean, what you said from a technical standpoint, a lot of these people trade technically. If silver breaks through $50, that makes it a floor that will never, ever, ever be broken again.
Right, we can't touch the floor
Right.
after that.
And
Right.
because of the past, in 1980, it hit $50, got slammed down. Or sorry, yeah, 1980 got slammed down. 2011, JP Morgan allowed it to go to $50, got slammed down. So we have literally a 50-year top. When you pierce the top, it turns into a floor if it holds above the top. So I think those cards are exactly what we're going to see this year in silver is that we're going to pierce that top of $50, which I mean is ridiculous if you think about it. I mean, gold is what, 4 or 5 times its 1980 high, where silver sits there at, what, 60, 70% of its all-time high from 1980. This is ridiculous. So I 100% agree that $50 will be a rock hard granite steel enforced floor that once silver goes over 50, it will never go back under 50.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind
Mm-hmm.
of what I heard in the cards, which is good. It doesn't, that Wheel of Fortune though makes me think, fuck, it could go to 60, it could go to 600, it could go to 6,000. It's all those options are then available after it sets that floor at 50.
So let me see here. Let me clarify it really quick. The magician, this mercurial energy here with the magician. So this is like what's it called? The use case. It's weird because it's the traffic. It's the highway that it's being traded on. It has a lot to do with like the method. Right. There's something that really wins people over. And it's almost like and then here's the Hierophant, which is, it's going to be in the West, this is what is culturally quite palatable to us already. So it's almost like the modification of an existing system or an existing modality that they just adapt to our taste now because like they win people over. Silver seems to win people over. And I don't know, there might even be, all right, wild prediction, there might even be um these kind of campaigns, they could be like low key campaigns, not necessarily big mainstream in your face, Fox News, whatever, uh, campaigns to help people get into precious metals, like all of a sudden. Younger people, all kinds of people, all age groups. But this almost has like, to use this approach with silver at this juncture in time, it really takes on like it's like, no, like this is great. It's almost like how people are really into carnivore all of a sudden and primal diets and um all of this new, we're trying to get back to Puritanism in a way and get back to nature and like natural order. Silver and gold are included in that. So I see just a huge surge in people's affection and the impression on it. And I think that that just bodes really well for the price. And people are going to be like, gosh, darn it, I wish I had gotten in when it was, down at $21 or $17 or whatever.
Or I wish I had gotten into silver when it was 1,000. Now it's 10,000.
Ah,
But no, you're right, and we started to see that in 1980. A lot of people went out at the first, $800 high. I mean, $50 high to buy precious metals. There were lines outside of precious metal shops. The problem back then, as is the problem now, is that the markets are rigged and traded on a derivative uh, exchange, which is everybody knows it's rigged now. So I do think that exchange needs to go away and a new type of real exchange where the people actually come in and have silver and buy and sell the real thing, not futures and options. And the banks will. It's interesting because the banks right now can buy gold and silver, um, but they don't. Imagine a bank printing fiat money and going out and buying silver and gold. Some big banks are buying the gold, but nobody's buying the silver. There's not enough silver.
right,
And it'll be interesting to see if the people say, fuck you, banks. I'm going to go out and buy gold or silver, and I can afford, a bunch of ounces of silver, but I can't really afford a bunch of ounces of gold.
right.
Right now, the ratio, it was at yesterday, it was at 100 to 1. Now it's at 95 to 1. I think at one point in the future, and we've talked about this many times, the gold silver ratio will go 1 to 1 to reflect a more equal, or even 1 to 10, where 1 ounce of silver buys you 10 ounces of gold because we've used up so much of the silver in solar panels and cell phones and flat screen TVs.
Oh man. This is good stuff. I'm really excited about it.
I know.
I just felt like the whole announcement, Governor DeSantis, legal tender in the state of Florida, I thought that that was really great. And I heard him expound basically just on his decision-making process when it comes to making policies in Florida. And he said he just does the opposite of what the blue states are doing. And it's working out pretty well for him. So I think that is a trend that maybe we can anticipate in some of the red states is this everybody's going to get on the bandwagon of normalizing utilizing fractional gold and silver. And I guess it's, the blockchain. It's like you can use your fractional gold and silver with a debit card to go. As people are stupid. People are, well, I shouldn't be mean, but like I'm spoiled now on this channel. People think you have to like go like chip off pieces of your how do you regulate it? And it's like it's 2025. We have the technology.
Well, the funny thing is, and obviously this has been discussed. Um, but having a gold monetary system or a silver monetary system has been the main discussion in economics for 3,000 years.
Mhm.
It's only in the past 50 years in modern day society that people have moved away from it, and they don't understand it. So what happened when people moved away from it, especially since 1971 when we went off the gold standard, is that they started printing money and more money and more money, more money, more money, more money.
Mm-hmm.
I think the 14 computers that Elon found that were printing money out of thin air printed a hell of a lot more than our national debt each. And they're not saying that. They're not telling that to us right now. And I want to get to Elon next, because it's really interesting what's going on there.
Oh yeah.
But I think we are moving to a place. One of the things about silver that we've seen on a small scale, but I think it'll hit global if silver goes over $50 an ounce and becomes on the radar of everybody. And then, everybody, at least the silver stackers now know that silver's been rigged for a very long time. And it comes out that, oh my God, here's three banks that are now in default because they had a massive silver short that was holding down the price artificially. I mean, it's kind of like once it hits that point of over $50, I think there's no stopping it because people will actually go get some physical silver, go to local coin shop, knock on the door and say, "What do I do? I have this fiat money. I want to buy some silver." And probably the guys at the coin shop will say, "Yeah, I want to buy some silver too. Can you find
Yeah,
it?"
I want some too. By the way, I just feel guided to let everybody know. Like I always have accepted silver to do readings, but like if you're silver heavy and kind of cash light right now, I'm totally open to accepting silver.
I
Mostly
think
gold
it's
and
good karma too. Exchanging silver is good karma, and it helps the cause. I
I love getting silver. Like I absolutely love it. It feels good. I'm like, oh, I get to share my gift and in return, like get some silver. It's like so cool. There's something about it. It's very like old world to me, like ancient times. You visit with the Oracle and there has to be some kind of mixture. Back in the day, oracles didn't work for themselves. Like they were kind of pimped out.
right.
So like, do you know what I mean? So, whoever the pimp was got the gold and silver, but these days it's me. So if you want your readings with me, send me your coins and I
I
get to.
got I got an idea. How about for people paying in silver, give them a 10% discount?
Oh my God, I love
Isn't that
that.
good?
Can you promote that? Oh my God,
Sure.
that's my dream.
Yes.
That's why I had the dream.
As a matter of fact,
Oh my
let's put
God.
this part that we've already done on YouTube and tell everybody Jenny's open for business, my friends. Go to jennyconstantine.com and schedule a reading with Jenny. You can ask her about anything. Doesn't have to be gold, silver, and crypto like we'd like to do on the road to Ruta. Personal life, you name it, she can
You
handle it.
name it.
Bring it on.
Nice.
And also join Jenny's Patreon channel, Jenny Moonstone on Patreon. She just posted something a couple days ago, a Q&A, which is really cool. So
Mhm.
there you go on YouTube. We're going to continue the rest of this conversation on the private road at Road to Ruta because we got to talk about some stuff that is going to be crazy, and YouTube doesn't like that. So this is our little stint for YouTube, and this is what you get when you hang out with Jenny. Lots of fun. So make sure you
Thank
contact her.
you.
All right.
See y'all on the flip.